Hobs with built-in extractors. They're definitely an appliance on the rise, but is it the best option for when you want your hob or cooktop on a kitchen island? Hi, I'm Michael from Kitchinsider and welcome to the channel. In this video I thought we'd look at hobs with built-in extractors in a little more detail, talk about how they work, their pros and cons, and answer some popular questions I get about the topic, so you can see whether one might be the best option for you and your kitchen island. Before we get into it, I thought I'd better quickly explain what is a hob with built-in extractor. Sometimes called venting hobs, a hob with built-in extractor is exactly that. It's a ceramic, gas, or most commonly an induction hob with an extractor in the center of the appliance itself. It functions as two appliances in one and is most commonly used on a kitchen island, although you don't have to have them on kitchen islands. I'm probably going to refer to them as venting hobs for this video, just because it's so much quicker to say than hob or cooktop with built-in extractor. Is a venting hob the best option for a kitchen island? Having a venting hob may not be necessary for most, but for some it's the answer to the question that they've been trying to figure out. You've decided that you want to have your hob on the island. You think it's more social to face the kitchen and family while you're cooking, and you don't like the idea of a sink on the island because of all those dirty dishes piling up. You need a cooker hood to get rid of all of those smells and greases, but you don't have a wall to fit it on. What do? You could have a big island chimney hood coming down from the ceiling, but that will block your view and the flow of the kitchen space. Plus, someone's likely to bang their head on it. It's normally me. Maybe you could have a ceiling cooker hood. They can be very expensive. And how effective are they really all the way up there? Plus, you might not have space in your ceiling between your joists to install one. You could go for a separate downdraft hood behind your hob, but they can be expensive too, and it's another machine and cutout in your lovely island. So what's the answer? Have the cooker hood built into the hob itself and get a venting hob. If that scenario sounds familiar, then joking aside, having a venting hob could be a really good option for you. So some of the pros of a venting hob: it solves the problem of island cooker hoods that some of the other options present. So the scenario we talked about earlier. They're sleek and compact, it's two appliances in one. They have a definite cool factor. I try to remain objective, but they are pretty cool. And they offer you the freedom to place a hob anywhere in the kitchen. Really ideal for kitchen islands, but they don't have to be put in an island. Some of the cons to having a venting hob: there is a bit of a limited range at the moment, although they are getting more and more popular and more brands are bringing out their own versions. It takes up some cabinet space underneath. This is probably the biggest disadvantage, especially if you're having drawers underneath, as a venting hob will most likely take up the space of that top drawer, so you'll lose that. You can only have 4 cooking zones, as where the 5th zone would typically be is where the extractor lives. And their price: they can seem very expensive for a hob, but do remember you're getting 2 appliances in one here. So, how do venting hobs work? In simple terms, a venting hob takes a gas, ceramic, or most commonly induction hob and places what is essentially a downdraft extractor in the center of the hob itself, rather than having a separate extractor or cooker hood behind it or above it. The extractor in the hob will then pull in any grease and steam down into the center of the appliance and away from your kitchen space. Inside this central extractor are metal grease filters, which help to collect as much grease as possible so they're not going through the system. And as well as this, there is a small condensation and water collection chamber. In addition to this small collection unit, there's a secondary safety tank as well. This acts as an overflow system, so if you accidentally spill any water or food down the extractor that's too much for the small tank to hold, it'll overflow into this secondary safety tank. You can access this overflow tank from underneath the hob. Now, there are 2 ways that you can install venting hobs, and most extractors for that matter. That's vented or recirculating. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but let me know if a dedicated video about vented and recirculating extraction would be useful. But basically, vented, you'll have pipework that goes from the appliance through to the outside of your house, taking all the smells and grease physically outside your home. Recirculating, you'll need to install some charcoal or carbon filters into the appliance. These help filter out all the smells as the air passes through them, but ultimately that air is going to get recirculated back into your kitchen. It's not going to get vented outside. What happens if you spill something into your venting hob? Nothing. So no need to panic, it's not going to explode. Anything that gets spilt into the center of a venting hob and goes down the extractor will ultimately end up in one of the two collection chambers. But this would typically be enough to hold the odd spill or a pea that manages to drop down and escape into the extractor. All of the motors and electronics are safely up and out the way of these areas as well, so really no need to worry. How do you clean the inside of a venting hob? You can pull out the parts that need cleaning in a venting hob quite easily. Usually you just lift up that center part where the extractor is to get to the metal grease filters and sometimes that first collection unit. And then to get to this larger overflow safety tank unit that's usually under the extractor in your cupboard, you can just go in there and unscrew that. These are the only internal sections that need cleaning every now and then. You don't need to wash them every time you use your hob, although maybe if you spill some pasta sauce all the way down it, it's a good time to clean them. But once in a while, it's a good idea to at least give the grease filters a good wash. Usually you can put all of these parts in a dishwasher, but always check that they are dishwasher safe first. So, is a venting hob the best option for a kitchen island? What do you think? Would you have one? Let me know in the comments below. That's all for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.